On the morning of December 7, 1941, American sailors at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii were eating breakfast. Some were still asleep. The base was quiet. It was Sunday morning. At 7:55 a.m., 353 Japanese aircraft appeared over the horizon. In 110 minutes, they sank or damaged 19 American warships, destroyed 328 aircraft, and killed 2,403 Americans. They also made the single greatest strategic mistake in modern military history. Japan in 1941 was a nation running out of options. For years, Japan had been expanding across Asia, China, Korea, Manchuria. The resource-hungry empire needed oil, rubber, and metals to fuel its military machine. Most of those resources lay in Southeast Asia, controlled by European colonial powers weakened by the war in Europe. Japan planned to seize them, but there was one obstacle: the United States Pacific Fleet, based at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. If Japan moved into Southeast Asia, the Americans would respond. The Pacific Fleet would be the instrument of that response. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto had a solution. Not to fight the Pacific Fleet, but to destroy it before it could fight back. A surprise attack. All at once. So devastating that America would need years to recover, years Japan would use to build an unassailable empire across the Pacific. Yamamoto himself had doubts. He had studied in the United States. He knew American industrial capacity. He reportedly said, "I fear we have awakened a sleeping giant." He planned the attack anyway. What makes Pearl Harbor one of history's most studied disasters is not just what happened, but how many warnings were ignored before it did. In the weeks before December 7th, American intelligence had decoded Japanese diplomatic messages suggesting an attack was imminent somewhere in the Pacific. The messages did not specify Pearl Harbor, but they were alarming. On the morning of December 7th itself, at 6:45 a.m., an American destroyer spotted and sank a Japanese midget submarine attempting to enter Pearl Harbor. The report was filed. No alert was issued. At 7:02 a.m., a radar station on the north shore of Oahu picked up a massive formation of aircraft approaching from the north. The two operators reported it to a junior officer. He told them not to worry. It was probably a flight of American B-17 bombers expected from the mainland. At 7:55 a.m., the first bombs fell. The first wave of Japanese aircraft struck with complete surprise. Torpedo bombers came in low over the water, targeting the battleships lined up along Battleship Row. Dive bombers attacked the airfield simultaneously, destroying American planes on the ground before they could scramble to defend. The USS Arizona was hit by a bomb that penetrated her forward ammunition magazine. The explosion was so powerful the ship was gone within 9 minutes. 1,177 of her crew died with her, nearly half of all American deaths at Pearl Harbor. The wreck still lies on the harbor floor. It is still considered a war grave. The USS Oklahoma capsized entirely, trapping hundreds of sailors below deck. Rescuers could hear them tapping on the hull for days afterward. Only 32 were rescued. 429 died. The second wave arrived 30 minutes later, hitting ships already damaged, airfields already burning. By 9:45 a.m., it was over. Japan's attack achieved almost everything it intended militarily. The battleships were destroyed or damaged. The airfields were wrecked. American naval power in the Pacific was severely degraded. But Yamamoto's plan had a fatal flaw, and the Japanese knew it before the attack began. The American aircraft carriers were not at Pearl Harbor that day. The USS Enterprise and USS Lexington were at sea on missions. The USS Saratoga was in California. Aircraft carriers, not battleships, would prove to be the decisive weapons of the Pacific War. The ships that Japan destroyed at Pearl Harbor were already becoming obsolete. The ships that would win the war were untouched. The Japanese also chose not to attack the fuel storage facilities at Pearl Harbor. 4.5 million barrels of oil stored in tanks above ground. If those tanks had been destroyed, the Pacific Fleet would have been crippled for months. They were left intact. And the attack on Pearl Harbor did something no Japanese military victory could undo. It ended American isolationism overnight. The United States, which had been deeply divided about entering the war, united in a single morning. The next day, President Roosevelt addressed Congress. Yesterday, December 7, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. Congress declared war on Japan within hours. Germany and Italy declared war on the United States 4 days later. America was now fully in the war on both sides of the world. The attack on Pearl Harbor lasted 110 minutes. America's response lasted 4 years and ended with 2 atomic bombs over Japanese cities and the complete destruction of the Japanese Empire. Yamamoto's fear had been correct. He had not destroyed the Pacific Fleet. He had enraged the most productive industrial nation on Earth and given it a reason to fight. The USS Arizona still lies in Pearl Harbor today. Oil still seeps from her fuel tanks, a few drops every hour, every day, for over 80 years. The locals call it the tears of the Arizona. She has never stopped bleeding. Subscribe to Echoes of Collapse. Every week, another moment when history changed forever.